Good day. Thank you for joining us for another edition of In Conversation with AARP in the Virgin Islands. I'm Troy Deshabere Schuster, State Director for AARP in this territory. Housing costs determine whether individuals and families can buy a home or live in a particular neighborhood without sacrificing other necessities, such as food and healthcare. Yet almost 20 million households are housing cost burdened. That is, they spend more than 30% of their income on housing, and in some cases, more than 50% of their income on housing. Housing cost burden affects both homeowners and renters, but renters are more likely to experience it. Renters typically have lower incomes than homeowners. They also usually face rising rents each year. Homeowners with fixed-rate mortgages have more predictable housing costs. A recent report by the Pew Research Center found that more rent-burdened individuals have very little money for other necessities, such as food and healthcare. People with high housing cost burdens may be at risk for eviction and displacement. The severe shortage of affordable housing can put families and individuals at risk for homelessness. Policymakers can address affordability by increasing subsidies for housing. They can also increase the size and diversity of housing to promote affordability. This can be achieved through the development of policies for new construction of missing middle housing. Recently, Governor Albert Bryan announced a new program that will help first-time home buyers secure financing to become homeowners through a partnership between the government of the Virgin Islands and local banks that will be administered through the Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority. Today's show is designed to provide Virgin Islanders with a detailed explanation of the provisions established by the VI Slice program. These provisions pertain to the program qualifiers, that is, number and types of housing loans available, income requirements, and other factors that will emerge through today's program. We have invited Wayne Biggs Jr., CEO of the Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority, to join us today for a discussion about the VI Slice program. Good day, Wayne. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, Troy. It's a pleasure being here with your team and your listening audience and viewing audience today.
Thank you. Yeah, we have so much to discuss about this exciting new program. We've been hearing a little bit about it in the news, and now we look to you, the chief executive director of the VI Economic Development Authority, because we understand that this is being administered through your department. So starting off, can you tell us a little bit of what the Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority does? Many have heard about it, but a lot of people are still confused as to what the authority do in general.
I'm happy to do that. The authority is really a multi-pronged operation. The Economic Development Authority is the umbrella organizations for the Enterprise Zone Commission, the Economic Development Commission, the Economic Development Bank of the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the Economic Development Park Corporation. And I'll run through each of those very quickly what we do. The Economic Development Bank, as it indicates, bank, provides access to capital to small businesses. We do a lot of startup businesses. We're not a commercial lender. We're what's called a secondary lender. So you have to be declined by a bank, and then we can do funding. And we can do loans up to $1 million. And we do loans directly. We do loans guaranteed. We're also an SBA preferred lender, so we can do SBA loans also. Additionally, we do run an incubator that allows for space for startup companies to grow or young companies to grow. And we provide managerial and technical assistance through our incubator program. The Enterprise Zone Commission provides community development and neighborhood planning. So on St. Croix, Frederickstead is an enterprise zone area, as is Christiansted. And in St. Thomas, we have the Savannah Down Street area, that's an enterprise zone, and the Garden Street Up Street area, that's an enterprise zone. So what we do in those areas is we provide tax credits and tax incentives basically for businesses that are in those locations or being established in those locations, and also for individuals who basically rehabilitate buildings in the enterprise zone. So if you're doing a building rehabilitation, the possibility of obtaining tax credits is available here as a result of the renovations that's being done. And of course, our program that is well known is the Economic Development Commission. And that's where we bring in what we call the EDC companies that everybody are aware of. That really what we do is we attract companies here to the territory, and we do that through tax incentives. So when we bring companies in, that's actually new money that we're bringing to the territory that was not here before. And basically, they employ individuals here locally. We have a requirement that 80% of the employees must be local residents, and local residence is defined by somebody who was in the territory 1 year prior to hire. And we do verify that and make sure. In addition to the hire, those companies are required to provide fringe benefits such as medical and dental insurance, 401k, paid time off, and a variety of other benefits that are required to be part of our program. So, that's our bread and butter program. And of course, we have the Industrial Development Park Corporation, and we run 2 industrial parks. We run a small park over on St. Thomas in Subbase above Victor's Hideout, and we run the William D. Roebuck Industrial Park off of the Melvin H. Evans Highway on St. Croix, that's adjacent to the runway at the airport. So overall, we touch many different areas here in the territory. And what we like to say is we provide economic growth, job opportunities, and wealth generation. So we're hoping to fill those voids for Virgin Islands here in the territory.
That's a lot. I don't know how you keep up with all of that, but it seems like you all are running an incredible operation. They're doing a great job and doing so much to develop the economy of the Virgin Islands. And, one thing I will just throw out here, I don't expect you to give any commitment to it. I'm kind of putting you on the spot now. But here in the Virgin Islands, when it comes to housing, and we're going to be talking about housing in a minute, there is a huge crisis of really good assisted living communities and nursing homes, like privately run nursing homes and so forth. And I keep saying that we have to come up with a way in the Virgin Islands to incentivize private companies from the mainland to come and develop really fine assisted living communities and nursing homes here. And they need huge tax breaks, because when it comes to dealing with Medicare, CMS, the profit margins are so narrow that for these businesses to function here and be CMS certified and accept Medicare payments, they can't function. But that's another conversation, just putting it out there, and we can talk about that more in detail offline.
Yeah, well, let me just say, since you brought the subject up, we are working with some developers. Assisted living and nursing homes does fit into our EDC program, and we are working with some developers, and hopefully we'll be able to attract them here in the territory. We understand that there's that need also. As we're all getting a little older, we look around and we see that there is definitely a big need for those types of services for our aging community. So we're working with developers, and hopefully we'll be able to attract a couple of them here to provide these type of facilities in the near future.
Well, that's great. That's great, because at AARP, we've been sounding that cry for a long time. So I guess as we've been planting seeds, they're now growing. So I'm glad to hear that there's some movement in that direction, because it is super, super important. We need that. And when I look at Southern Florida, right, you see how many retirees from all over the United States flock there, and they actually build the economy of Southern Florida. Can you imagine if we had some of that here, what it would do to our economy? So I'm looking forward to seeing how that all develops. Great.
Yeah, we're happy to assist wherever we can, and like I said, that is part of our recruitment that we're trying to get done. And I concur with you. I think definitely when you look at Southern Florida, you look at Arizona, we see retirees flocking to warm climates. We have it here. We have the sea, we have the warm climate, the relaxed living in the Caribbean. So definitely, I think it would be a great retirement community if we can develop some of these ancillary services that would be required for the community.
Great. And now looking in particular about the VI Slice program, many younger people don't realize that if they're going to get a mortgage, to enter into a mortgage to buy or build a home, in most cases, they need to have at least 20% upfront in cash. And then when they do run up against that wall, it becomes a really huge barrier, and then they can't afford to buy a home or build a home because, first of all, they're renting, and while they're renting, and as we mentioned in our introduction today, paying the higher costs of rent, it's hard for them to save money to get to that 20% mark so they can buy a home. So tell us about this VI Slice program and how this helps with all of that.
Yeah, happy to do that. The VI Slice program is a moderate income home ownership program that was started by Governor Bryan, and actually we're working with ODR, the Office of Disaster Recovery, in reference to fine tuning the provisions of the program. But it's really a program for first time homeowners that are in the moderate income bracket. Many times we see programs that are available for lower income individuals, but we found that this gap was here for this moderate income. So what we've done is we've created a program that allows individuals to get secondary gap financing directly from us in regards to helping them purchase a home or construct a home. And the program has a limit of $200,000. The program can be used for down payment and closing costs. It can be used for purchasing the home. So if you have a contract and there's a gap, or it can be used for constructing a home. So there are a variety of different areas. And really, we're encouraging individuals to really go into the home ownership market. We know there is a shortage of homes here in the territory. The inventory of homes is low, and we're trying to create and improve the inventory, but really get people into home ownership is the goal of the program.
You said something that sparked my curiosity, that the inventory is low, but yet at the same time we hear about a declining population from the census. So how do we have a declining population and a lower inventory of homes?
Yeah, I mean, I think they go kind of hand in hand, in all honesty. I think a lot of homes have come off the market. They've gone now into the vacation rental, whether it be Airbnb or some other type of rental market. Also, as a result of the hurricanes, the storms, many of the inventory was damaged. And if you drive around St. Croix in particular, and I haven't been around St. Thomas to really look at St. Thomas's inventory, but St. Croix in particular, you see a lot of abandoned homes that need to be renovated and reconstructed as a result of hurricane damage. So I think there's a combination of different things: hurricane damaged homes, and like I said, a lot of homes going into the Airbnb home ownership program. I'm sorry, vacation rental program.
Yeah, that makes good sense. I can certainly see that. And you know, it's funny because as you drive around, sometimes you see homes that were damaged from Hurricane Hugo that still have not been repaired, and now Hurricane Maria, and then Airbnb. So that will make perfect sense that the inventory has declined. And then I guess we have more snowbirds also, which are not counted in our population, but they do buy homes, and so that takes that out of the inventory as well.
Yeah, they're not counted in our census population. You're correct, Troy, but they're here for a significant period of time, and their homes are taken off the market as a result of them coming in and out. Or again, we've seen more and more homes transition into vacation rentals through one of the social networks as these individuals are out of the territory. So they're taking the opportunity now, instead of shuttering their home while they're away, to really rent their home out and make some money as a result of the demand for homes here in the territory, particularly during the winter months.
I recently heard from realtors on the island that a lot of banks are hesitant to give loans for new construction. Is that now changing? Are they more willing now to do new construction loans, the banks?
Yeah, we've gotten a commitment from the banks to do more construction loans. All of the banks that are in the territory are currently in the program or have indicated that they want to be in the program. The program is really in its infancy stages, but developing as we go along. But not only the banking institutions, but also we're encouraging all the non-banking mortgage lenders to be part of the program also. So we're trying to reach out to everybody to make it as available as possible for individuals to basically obtain a dream and obtain their slice of the territory. We have a commitment from the banks that they will be doing construction loans. So hopefully that will alleviate some of the issues that we've had in the market. I think in the past People were a little leery in reference to construction loans, but we see that coming back slowly now. And like I said, the banks have made that commitment that they will be doing construction loans.
Well, that's great news. And so for the VI Slice program, what are the parameters? How does one qualify regarding income and other factors?
Yeah, there are some income qualification levels, and the income qualification levels are different by island, realizing that homes are more expensive in various islands. The St. Croix, the income level, you have to have a minimum income of roughly $43,500 and a maximum income of $216,000. In St. Thomas, the income is $45,200 on the minimum side, and $242,000 on the high side. And then in St. John, the minimum income is $47,000 and the maximum income is roughly $260,000. So we've priced and looked at the income levels and the cost of homes in various areas on various islands. And we all know St. John tends to be the more expensive of the three islands here in the territory. So we've increased that income level a little bit. We're trying to find mortgages that are affordable and trying to fill that gap also, so individuals can, again, get into home ownership. We also are going to require that the individual has to live in the home for 10 years. You have to have been in the territory for 3 years prior to, or if you're a Virgin Islander, or if you've been here for 10 years prior to, but you went away for school or whatever and you're returning home, then we'll make those exceptions and allow you into the program. So there's a variety of different areas that we're looking at in reference to eligibility for the program. It has to be your first home that you're purchasing or that you're constructing. So if you have land that's available and you're going to construct a home on that land, we can look at that loan in reference to filling a gap in regard to that. But if you have land and you're trying to buy a new home, we're going to require you to liquidate that land and invest it into that home first. The program is not designed to enrich individuals. It's designed to put people into homes.
Okay, now talking about land. So let's say somebody has a parcel of land, or let's say they have two parcels of land and they want to build on one. Are they forced to sell the parcel that they're not going to build on to then qualify in this program to build on the other parcel? Can you explain that in more
Yeah,
detail?
we'll look at how, I think every case is a case-by-case issue in regard to that. I mean, there may be reasons why it would be difficult to sell that land. But again, we're not here to try to have anybody enrich themselves. So if you have assets, we want you to use your assets and put that into the program first, and then we'll fill the gap. So if you have land and you are land rich and you decide, well, I don't want to sell my land, I just want to build a home in somewhere else, we're going to require you then to, say, look, you got to use some of your assets that you have. You already have assets that are available to you. The program is really for those people who have this gap or this need that's not there. And because you have the land, that need may not be there for yourself. So we'll review it on a case-by-case basis. I don't want to say right off it disqualifies you, because there may be circumstances where you will be qualified and be determined to be eligible. But again, it's not to enrich you. It's to have you build your first home. But we're going to require you to use all the assets you have and put towards the first home first, and then we'll fill the gap that's available.
And when somebody is desirous of taking part in this program, where do they start? Do they come to EDA first, or do they go to the bank first?
Yeah, no need to come to EDA at all. What you're going to do is you're going to go to the bank. The bank is going to qualify you and give you a commitment letter that says you have let's use, you're purchasing a home. You have a home that you're purchasing. We commit to lend you $200,000. The home is $250,000. You only have $20,000 for the down payment. They'll send us, they have a requirement of various documents so we can do an evaluation. They'll send that to us saying, this is the gap that they're trying to fill. We will look at the program, and if you're qualified, we'll say, okay, we can give you the other $50,000 for the purchase price because you were eligible for $200,000 through the bank. The contract is for $250,000. So you get the $50,000 there. You have a $20,000 shortage on the down payment. We can also provide that $20,000 shortage on the down payment. So again, it's all case by case, but really it starts with the bank, and the bank determines the gap. We evaluate for eligibility. We look at what the bank has indicated the gap is, and then we basically fill that gap as we determine the gap to be. So you can get for down payment again, you can get for closing costs, you can get for the shortage in reference to purchasing a home or in reference to constructing a home. So everything starts with the bank. You are the bank's client. The bank is our client.
And so, as we talk about homes, is this limited only to houses, or how about condominiums?
We're basically looking at homes, and the reason for that is we're trying to find fixed areas in reference to mortgage payments, and condominiums, you know, may have various association fees. I mean, we can look at condominiums also, but primarily we were actually looking at standalone homes. But we do allow the homes to have income generated property or apartments there. So if you have a house that has 2 apartments, you can qualify. We allow up to 2 rental units to be part of that particular home. But we have not really looked at condominiums at this stage, but it's something we're happy to look at.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, condominiums I think are always a great option, especially as people get older. You know, I look at my own family and I, you know, see my mother in this house and I'm thinking, wow, I wish she had bought a condominium a long time ago. It'd be so much easier to maintain.
Yeah, the large homes that we purchased when we were young. I mean, as we get older, we kind of say we're empty nesters now. We don't need a house by that size and stuff. So yeah, we'll take a look at that. I mean, it's something that we did not discuss in all honesty, but we'll be happy to take a look at condominiums and see how we can fit that into the program.
Yeah, yeah. At AARP, we're always thinking about aging, right? And how to age in place and how to make sure you have a home that you can manage even as you get older, so you can age in place and so forth. Right. And so has this program started up yet? Has anybody taken advantage of it yet without giving out any confidential information?
Yeah, no direct taken advantage of yet. I mean, there's a lot of interest in the program. Again, it's based on a commitment letter that you're getting from a lender. So we have, I think, one entity that's very close to taking advantage of the program. The program was launched on October 20th when the governor did his press conference. So we're working with the banks and working, like I said, with the private mortgage entities to just get the program moving. But it does require you to have that commitment letter, and sometimes that takes a little time. You have a sales contract, or if you're doing construction, you need it, you know, your plans approved, you need the construction permit. So there's a variety of different things, but we are working towards hopefully moving this program forward. We think it's really required and necessary here in the territory to assist individuals into getting into homes. As you know, the cost of housing currently is very, very expensive here in the territory.
And so is there any limit to this program? Is it going to be just for a period of time? Is there a cap on the amount of monies that will be spent? What are the limitations?
Yeah, we have roughly $10 million for this program. So once the funding is depleted, unless we can find another funding source, the program will then basically be held in abeyance or kind of dissolve on its own. But it's not similar to a loan program where we have revolving funds. So we have a limited amount of funds, and once those funds are over, the program will probably come to an end. And like I said, we'll look for additional grant monies to continue the program, but it is what we have and what we have to work with right now.
You know, back in the days of our grandfathers, Dr. Canagata and my grandfather, Ralph Deshabert, when they were in the municipal council, they had started this Homestead Act. You recall that? I don't know if you have heard of it. And you could get a parcel of land. It was usually 10 acres with a small house on it for little to nothing. And it was a real benefit to so many families. This is way back. I think it was like in the 40s or somewhere, 50s, somewhere back there. Has anybody ever thought of that again in the government? I know that's sort of maybe out of your wheelhouse, but that's such a wonderful program it was.
Yeah, outside our wheelhouse, I don't know if there's enough land that we would be able to do that. I mean, populations were different then. I think that the requirements were different. What we are looking at, though, is we're looking at how do we change the paradigm in reference to how we build. So we're trying to keep construction costs down. We're also trying to build for the future, more smart homes, but also build more ADA, that meets the ADA requirements, lowering the light switches, creating wider doorways. So we're trying to figure out how do we, modify the paradigm here in the territory in reference to building to keep building costs down. So we're working on that, again, with some developers, and hopefully we'll be able to get those developers here in the territory and keep housing costs kind of significantly down from what it is now.
When you were talking about widening the doorways and lowering the light switches and so forth, at AARP, we call that home fit. we, we have a whole title for that and a whole program to make people aware of that home fit so that you can make your home a place where you can age in place.
Right.
So you end up in a wheelchair or before that in a walker and so forth. If you need to get a hospital bed into your bedroom, if you need to make sure that you can take a shower without having to step high and into a bathtub. So I'm glad to hear you mention something quite like our home fit, and I hope that more and more people will become aware of that, and we continue to promote that here in the Virgin Islands at AARP, because we find that people do age better when they age in their own home rather than having to move out and go into an assisted living community or a nursing home, which are also important and have their place. But it's always best to be able to age in your own home.
I concur. I think it's a great way if we can keep people in their own homes. And like I said, that's what we're trying to change the paradigm. I mean, we have a habit, as you know, Troy, in reference to building with 8-inch concrete block on the outside and 6-inch on the inside. I mean, in today's construction materials, there's so much varieties of materials that I think if we use a variety of different materials, we can keep the cost significantly down, which will make housing more affordable. But again, we need to start creating plans that allow for home fit, I think you call it, in regard to creating these areas where we can stay in our home and stay in our home. Unlike many individuals in the States, people here in the territory, once you purchase a home, you tend to stay in that home for your lifetime. In the States, you may buy a home and say that's your starter home, and then you graduate to another house somewhere else. But we tend to really lay our roots down in that house that we purchased our first home and live in there forever. So we have to make sure that we can age in that home well.
Exactly. Now we have just about 1 minute left. Can you tell our audience just quickly how can they get more information on this VI Slice program?
Yeah, you can call our offices. I'm St. Thomas. The number is 714-1700, or you can call the St. Croix office 773-6499, or visit our website usvieda.org, and also the governor's website has some information on the program. So please visit your bank or your private mortgage entity and inquire about the VI Slice program if you're a first-time homeowner or you want to have a slice of the territory.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Wayne Biggs. We've been speaking with Wayne Biggs, the CEO of the Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority, talking about the VI Slice program. We hope this has been informative, and we hope that so many more people will take advantage of this and become first-time homeowners here in the Virgin Islands. So, Wayne, thanks for joining us today, and we look forward to having you in a future show.
Thanks for having me, and always a pleasure being here with AARP. Thank you so much, Troy.
Great. Good day.
Good day.